welcome back guys to another real Gwent. You're watching it now over the internet, so it's not real to you, but it was real to me when I played it. So this time we're going to play Nilfgaard. My opponent Gareth playing Nilfgaard. Myself playing Northern Realms. Now I've never played Northern Realms before. This is actually my friend's Gareth's deck, but I'm going to give it a go. I kind of know the basic strategy of what it is. I'm a very much a monster man myself. So the same deck strength rules apply, and we're going to try and... I'm replacing one card at the minute, trying to get a spy, or another spy. Because you can replace one card at a time. Maximum 2 cards is what can be replaced from your hand, but you can replace one card, shuffle, pull it out. Now you're supposed to shuffle it before you draw the card out, because you do have a chance to pull the same card out a second time. Okay, starting with a spy. This is... Now the thing is, in terms of deck sizes, Nilfgaard have 3 spies available to them without counting neutral cards, and Northern Realms have 3 spies that they are allowed without counting neutral cards. So both decks have access to 4 spies each. The other 2 decks, Squirtle and Monsters, have access to only 1, and that's the neutral card. So they don't have any for their own decks. So I imagine this is going to be quite a spy-driven game. As you can see, 3 spies already. I think this is why we wanted to give it a go, because it's going to get absolutely insane with the amount of spies, provided we've got good hands. Okay, so it's not just about the amount of spies you can play yourself. You can decoy the spies they place down, and then replay them. You can also pull them out of the discard pile. Gareth's leader ability is he'll be able to pull one out of my discard pile. So I've got to make sure that if I've only got 1 in there, I need to pull him out first. Still more spies going on. It's ridiculous. we must have a large amount of cards in our hand, which just makes it, you know, I guess it depends on which deck is better now then. Maybe, I don't know. More spies. The thing is, I do believe I picked up a spy earlier, with the decoy, and then placed it back down. It was 7 strength. So I think, in hindsight, I should have waited with the decoy to pick up the spy, which is 4 strengths, you know. So I think that was a bad play from me. I should have been a bit more patient. Okay, so like I said, this is Gareth's deck that I'm using. There's that 10 that I've just placed down there. Now, so in the actual Witcher game, Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, it is very much a progressive card system. You don't have access to all the cards, and you have to earn them by beating people, which means you can upgrade your deck and then progress through the game, beat some other people, progress, upgrade your cards, etc. Having access to all the cards already, because we printed off 2 sets, there's some cards which seem a bit obsolete. So we've got that 10 there, which is what I was talking about a minute ago, and it just seemed a little, unless we got like a low unit strength cap, there's no reason to have that 10. You might as well just have the 15 that Gareth has placed down, or Geralt, or something like that, because they're 15. Unless you can't work it out, you know, you can't afford the extra 5 strength. Getting that 10 strength, it can't be buffed, can't be nerfed, it can't be, you know, nothing special can happen to hero cards. So it just seems like there's no point in having the 10. You might as well have the 15. And normally I stick loads of 15s in my deck, or 2. I think there's only 2. Loads. So one aspect which is different from the Witcher 3 game as well is we've got to keep track of how many cards each of us got in our hands. In the normal Witcher game, Gwent, on the Witcher 3 game, you have access, you know how many cards the opponent has in their hand, which can dictate how you play a little bit. You can try and make them run out of cards. So sometimes we do ask each other how many cards we've got. You're allowed to look at the opponent's leader ability. You're allowed to look at any card on the board. you know. So sometimes feel free to do that. You're allowed to look in the opponent's discard pile too. Impenetrable Fog. It only really affects me, but it doesn't because it's a hero card that it would affect, so it doesn't get affected at all. And I'm only placing that down to get him to spend more cards, really. Quite an early Scorch. Nilfgaard do have quite a few 10s, so we'll see if we could have saved it for later. Now I'm not sure in the time of commentating, I'll let this information be available to you, however, how many spies each of us have actually played. Because I know we've picked some up, put some down again, and that'll be interesting information to hear throughout the rest of the video. The deck ability of the Northern Realms allows us to draw a card if we win a round. So that's why I am pushing quite hard to try and win this first round. The Nilfgaard, Gareth's strategy here, which is pretty obvious, I think, is to try and make me use all my cards. Because the Nilfgaard deck ability is that if the round ends in a draw, where normally we both take a life gem off, he wins instead. So what he wants me to do is use all my cards, or use most of them, so that in the second round I use them to win that one possibly, or something like that. So that on the third round I've got no cards left, and even if he doesn't have any cards left, he wins because it's a draw. So his strategy is to try and make me use all my cards, which is, you know, quite effective considering the amount of spies that he's had. Now, as a little side note, my friend Gareth here has played with his brother quite a few times, and his brother specialises in the Nilfgaard deck, and my friend Gareth here normally plays Northern Realms. Now, he's told me he's played quite a few games against his brother with Northern Realm versus Nilfgaard, and he's never been able to win against Nilfgaard as Northern Realms. So we're going to see if we can win this, but the record, I don't know how many games he's played, I'm going to guess about like maybe 10, 20. He's never been able to win Northern Realm versus Nilfgaard. There does seem to be a bit of a rock, paper, scissors going on with some of the decks. Northern Realms to Nilfgaard, Nilfgaard, Monsters, and Northern Realms. Squirtle, I mean. Squirtle, no one's played Squirtle. I think the next episode we're going to do is going to be a Squirtle. I'm going to play Squirtle. So hopefully that'll be a bit more interesting. So pass is what I've been wanting for a long time. I am quite far behind though in the points, and I had to spend some quite big cards to get up. And the decoy is not really what I wanted, unless there's a spy on the table. Whereas there might be, because he hasn't used his hero ability. So he's definitely going to pull a spy out of my discard pile. And here we go, yeah. Being a very generous player, passing my discard pile to him. Okay, he goes for the lowest strength, of course. So I do have a decoy now. This is going to be excellent for me. Play it straight away. Now a lot of these, some hero abilities, some leader abilities should I say, they pull, say, like a weather effect out of the deck and play it instantly. And there's other ones where you pull it out of your deck into your hand. Now the ones where you pull it into your hand are the best, because then it wastes 2 turns. You pull it out of the deck, and then you can play it the next turn. So that's 2 turns you've waited rather than playing it instantly, which is only 1. So decoys are really good, because you pick up a card, and you've kind of weakened yourself, but it doesn't matter, and you wasted a turn, which is really nice. Decoys are very good in that respect. Okay, a bit unsure whether to do it. Now the reason I'm unsure at this point in the game is because we're on the second round, right? If he wins, which I'm expecting him to win, I'm trying to make him play something, you know, reasonable. If he wins, third round he could pull it out of his discard pile. Nilfgaard are very, very good at pulling. They've got a lot of medic ability units, so we need to be careful about him pulling spies out of his discard pile. However, the cards I've got in my hand, I wasn't feeling good. I felt like I needed to use a spy at that point. So even in this late stage, it feels like a late stage. We're only on the second round. Alright, here we go. He's got to win this one. But he's still getting spies used. That's the thing, you see. He's gonna save the spy, I think. Because he wants to win, so he's just going to beat me in strength. If he had maybe 2 more strength at this point, I think he probably would have placed the spy down as well. So we drew. Because it's only a 4 strength. And like I said, if Nilfgaard draw, then instead of both of us taking a life gem off, in which case he would lose, because he's Nilfgaard, he wins, so he only has to draw. He can be very calculated with the winning in that respect. So I've only got 1 card left, and it's a useless card, but the spy is an excellent. It's gonna we'll see how it goes. But I imagine the amount of cards he's drawing, he's gonna have access to a lot of stuff. So I played my Impenetrable Fog, which is good, because then Nilfgaard are very ranged dependent. You know, they've got a lot of 10s on range. So if he hasn't got a clear weather, then that's good. Right, Scorch. So it's a 0-0. Now, he's got 4 cards left in his hand, but he doesn't have to play any of them, because Nilfgaard draws, cancels a win, so I have lost. And he has a Commander's Horn, Torrential Rain, Yennefer of Vengerberg, oh boy, and his, well, I forget the man's name, but he's like the really good medic, 10 strength medic. Oh, he would have piled that on. I don't think I could have won that, not without drastic play changes at the very beginning, but it's really hard to see how that would have panned out have I done it all. So that was a very good game. Again, still, the Northern Rounds versus Nilfgaard has been unchanged. Nilfgaard seems to have won again. Next episode, Square Towel. Oh boy. Oh boy.